Have a good day, everything's well, tomorrow the sun is going to rise. It is not that easy. Hi guys, today I'm delivering a talk on depression, which is the second biggest industry in the world after education industry, and maybe within few years this industry is going to supersede the education industry. As I told you, because I will discuss or talk about the reasons why depression is there, how it happens, and what we can do to get out of it. So let's start how depression happens. As you all know, most of the diseases what we have, 70-80% of the diseases we have are related with our mind. Mind, in a sense, the emotions which we carry. Depression basically happens only after a long period of manifestation. Like suppose you live constantly in fear, you live constantly in anxiety, you live constantly in hate, you live constantly in resentment. All that negative emotions with which you live and which you carry all that time 24/7 slowly and steadily starts manifestation in the body. And it takes at least 2 to 3 years to the body shows a symptom. In fact, within 2-3 years, when you carry a constant and negative emotion, then your body will start giving symptoms. Within 5 years, if you are still carrying, then that will become a chronic, full-blown issue. So I hope you have understood that negative emotions which we live are the reasons for our depressions. Now, what we have to do at the time when the person who is carrying that emotions is not aware that I am carrying these things which is harming me. So the responsibility lies with the society, with the family, with the school, with the friends, to identify this kind of people whom they can see the changes in their behavior, in the symptoms, different symptoms, and try to redress it as soon as possible. And it is not easy for a person who's going through this issue to just go and tell him, oh, it's fine, have a good day, everything's well, tomorrow the sun is going to rise. It is not that easy. Because it is like walking behind, walking backwards. We have conditioned ourselves for some things constantly, which is very much there in our subconscious mind, and it is not easy to unlearn it. So, once you identify the person who is constantly in a negative state of emotion and showing signs of distress, you have to catch that person, whosoever it may be, the school, society, children, family, friends, and try to help that person in a very subtle manner, not forcing, not saying don't overcome it, just hurry up. No, it won't work. We need to understand the emotion, what the child or what the person is going through, what are the fears, what are the anxieties that person is going through, and gradually you will come to know that there is one particular emotion with different persons have different issues. So their emotions, negative emotions are different. Once you identify, we try to make that person to identify on his or her own that she or he is actually holding that negative emotion for long. And once that person identifies that, yes, this is the emotion I'm holding, then the magic starts, then the healing starts. Then what can be done is that we can train them to unlearn the emotions, you show them the positive and the negative. We can make them learn aware, awareness. We should teach that person to be aware of your thoughts, which is again, a big task. It's not easy to tell a person to be aware of your thoughts. So it is a gradual process, and at times you may take a medical help also. And counseling, I think, plays a very, very important role where depression is concerned. The combination of pharmaceutical and counseling. Counseling, there are two types. One is spiritual and one is the clinical counseling. If the combination of clinical psychology and the pharmaceutical combination is not working, then I suggest the person should go to a spiritual counseling. Spiritual counseling basically is about the inner world. And that person, whosoever is doing this counseling, can identify that person to make the person understand what is actually happening in the inner world. And once you start unlearning with constant counseling, encourage, support, then gradually, you will see there is marked change in the person. It may take 6 months, 1 year to get all right, but I'm sure it will happen. So this is a small talk I have given. This length on length to talk about it, length of length cases, and to discuss and talk how happened and how it was resolved. This is a long thing. So I will sum up this talk with only one important message, that we need to catch them young. Whenever you see, you have to be aware that there are changes in the behavior of a person, maybe a child, maybe a parent, maybe a brother, maybe a sister, maybe anybody, or a student. Whenever you notice there is a change in the behavior, some symptoms are there, we have to be aware, we should seek help, we should go to the psychologist, we should go to the spiritual healer, we should go to the pharmacy, we should seek help. This is very, very important, because people with the name tag depression, they treat as a taboo. So they will say, what has happened to me? I am perfectly all right. And 90% of the cases, people are ignored, and then things get complicated day by day, because your subconscious mind, the more you will go on feeding them negativities, the more difficult it will to unlearn it. So my message is that depression is very, very much curable, but we need to help that person and help the world. In fact, the world basically is what I have talked in the beginning, that it is the second largest industry today, and it is going to supersede, because there is so much of stress, so much of competition, which is leading haywire to all human beings and people. Thank you.